Oklahoma judge stepping down just days before she was set to go on trial in a special court, accused of sending hundreds of text messages to her bailiff while presiding over a murder trial involving the death of a toddler. Some of the texts critical of the prosecutor and the defendants. Here's ABC's Jacqueline Lee.
She was caught on camera texting and scrolling on Facebook during a murder trial in the killing of a 2-year-old boy. And tonight, an Oklahoma judge is off the bench, accused by the state Supreme Court of gross neglect of duty and bias.
It doesn't matter whether it was a traffic case or whether it was a divorce case or whether it was a first-degree murder case. I texted during a trial, and that was inappropriate.
District Judge Tracy Soderstrom, who was suspended with pay, now stepping down after only a year on the bench. In October, the Chief Justice recommended Soderstrom be removed following an investigation that found she exchanged more than 500 texts and emojis with a bailiff, including, "This is dumb," during the state's direct examination of a witness. "Can I please scream liar, liar," during witness testimony, and "He's pretty. I could look at him all day," about a police officer on the stand. The state Supreme Court says the texts show a lack of temperament to serve as a judge and reflect a judge who wholly abandoned her neutral role. Soderstrom was presiding over the trial of a man convicted last June of second-degree manslaughter in the death of his girlfriend's 2-year-old son, Braxton Danker, seen here in a photo posted online by the funeral home. When, as part of her resignation, Soderstrom has agreed to never seek judicial office in Oklahoma again.
Jacqueline Lee, thank you. To the Oklahoma.
So never seek judicial office in Oklahoma again. What about in another state? I wonder how much this kind of stuff be happening, you know? This kind of story makes me wonder about that. Like, you know, how much do these judges really care about the cases that they preside on? How unbiased are they actually, you know? Do they already have decisions that they have made? Have they already come to conclusions about how they're going to rule on a case before they even heard the evidence and so forth and so on? Like, that kind of stuff makes me wonder, you know, like, that's scary to me, because I like to look at it as like the judge is kind of impartial and they are there to make sure that everybody is following the rules, and they're going to rule based on, you know, the evidence that's presented or whatever. And that's probably why you want to have a jury trial over a judge trial, you know, again, because how do you know that the judge hasn't already had their own opinions about the topic or whatever? We always talk about juries and, you know, a tainted jury. When you have a jury that has already, like, if a case is big and it's in the news and they've already heard about it, then they already have came to conclusions that you know, one way or the other about you know, the guilt or innocence of a person. And, you know, what about the judges? You know, they listen to the news too. They, you know, probably way more than the average juror. So, you know, I think that the jury trials will be better, you know, because at least they have to come to a consensus together. And one person can't just be the one who's like already made a decision. I don't know, like, this is shady to a high level, and it also makes the justice system look really bad. So it says an Oklahoma district judge has resigned after being caught on camera sending more than 500 texts during a murder trial in the killing of a 2-year-old boy. And then how petty the texts were, like they said she was making fun of like one of the witnesses, talking about they're lying, you know. It's like she wasn't paying attention really in the trial at all. You sending 500 freaking texts. Like, you're sitting there texting the whole time. You're not even listening. Like, what professionalism? You know, me going to school, you know, one of my instructors said, what it's really all about is becoming a professional, you know. And as years has gone by, him making that comment has stayed in my mind. And I feel like that's what's happening with me in a lot of ways with different stuff. Like, we can say, you know, about what you learned in the class or whatever on one hand, but on the other hand, learning how to manage your time, how to multitask, how to check your emails, how to be able to communicate professionally, you know, in person and through media, you know, stuff like that. Learning how to research, learning how to determine what's real and what's not, like what's fact and what's fiction, what's propaganda, you know, learning how to just present yourself and just carry yourself in a certain way, you know, getting up and taking care of business when you don't want to and stuff like that. Like, even though you're tired, like, that's what I'm getting from going to school. And I think that's what it's all about. And this person is showing a lack of professionalism with this type of behavior. Like, you wouldn't be able to get away with that in a classroom as a student. Let me read a comment. It says, this proves she has zero credibility, respect, or empathy for this child's death. She should be held in contempt of court and fined and jailed for the outrageous behavior. I think that's a little extreme. And I don't know that it has much to do with the fact that it was a child's death. She probably behaves that way in all of her freaking cases. You know what I mean? I mean, if she's behaving this way in this case, who's to say she wasn't being this way in all of her cases? I don't know that it really has to do with the fact that that it was about a murder of a child. Couple more comments. It says she should never seek judicial office in the USA. Another one that says she deserves to be fired. That's incredibly sad. Well, she resigned. That's pretty much equal in being fired. You can't fire a judge. Another comment, it says, hold on. It says, some jobs I think require a certain ethical standard, and I think a judge is the gold standard for that type of job. I mean, she is human, but she gets paid the big bucks to decide on some really important decisions that affect people's lives. It would be like if the surgeon was messing around texting people jokes about someone that they performed surgery on. Anyway, that's all I got. Have a good night, everybody. Stay warm. Another one that says, smartphones have made dumb humans. They really are an addiction for some people. Shaking my head. I think that's a cop out right there. Like, yes, I do think smartphones have made dumb people, but like, it's not about her being addicted to her phone. It was more like she just didn't care. Like, she wasn't paying attention. Like, she wasn't being professional. It says smartphones made the world dumber. Another one that says, never deserved to be a judge in the first place with that type of demeanor. I can't begin to imagine if I lost a child and ended up with a judge like her. Yeah, I don't think she should be a judge anywhere, ever again. It says, and now they'll get a new trial and the family will have to endure it all over again. Shaking my head. See, that's the worst freaking part of this whole thing. Like, if you ever had to go to court every month for a year or 2 years, then you can understand how painful that is for everybody involved. And then you got to freaking do all that over again, all the emotions related to it, money being spent, time off for work. You know, taxpayer dollars being spent related to it. They're going to have to do all that shit again. It says, you all think that's bad. We had a court clerk puppeteering one of our judges who had dementia, like Joe Biden, for 7 years before they were caught. It says, so unprofessional, bye-bye. Another one that says, this is absolutely disgusting. She needs to be off.
Looks like we got us another hit.
That bench immediately. What a terrible story.
Place.
Yeah, so and for regular folks, they would have got rid of the bail option and been like, this guy has shown that he, you know, don't want to follow the rules, don't want to show